What is up, everyone? Today I'm showcasing Xerneas in the Master League with the charge attack Thunder, as a nasty surprise to some of Xerneas' biggest threats like Kyogre and Ho-Oh. Boom! To cover for Xerneas, I'm running Giratina Altered in the lead, as it can deal with Mewtwo, Kyogre, Groudon, Ho-Oh, and Metagross, which are some of Xerneas' biggest threats. The reason why I'm running Altered and not Origin Giratina is because Altered has access to Dragon Claw, which gives it a better matchup versus Dragon Flying types like Rayquaza and Dragonite, which is definitely required as my back Pokemon, Groudon, really struggles with those. I'm running Groudon in the back as I definitely need some more anti-steel in this team, as I won't be running close combat on my Xerneas to deal with those steel types. Overall, this team worked quite well. I went very positive with it, and Thunder came in useful several times. Anyway, let's get into the battle, starting off with this battle versus my good friend and fellow content creator Inadequence, who at the time was watching my Twitch livestream, so he knew all my Pokemon and their moves, but luckily I also knew his, as he has told me his team earlier on in the day. By the way, this is not like a stream snipe or anything. He just accidentally queued into me, and once he saw my name, he made sure to exit the stream, so, you know, he couldn't see what charge moves I was throwing. So this is a very fair battle. We just both know each other's teams and movesets. So, you know, this is gonna be interesting. He's running up Harrier, Mewtwo, and Giratina, and at the time, I think this is going to be a great matchup, as I will probably lose the lead here, and then I get Xerneas on Mewtwo, and Xerneas on Mewtwo is pretty bad, as Xerneas just way outpaces. But my Groudon is looking very good. He has like no answer to Groudon, so I know after his breaking swipe, I can just switch into my Groudon, and with an energy lead, it's going to be tough for him to deal with it. I'm going to go for the Precipice Blades. They're over farming a little bit, throwing on the CMP tie here with the Shadow Ball. We can't really shield here, because if he shields, Xerneas is going to be a shield up. And Xerneas shield up is pretty good versus the rest of his line. So he kind of has to save shields for the Mewtwo, which puts me in a decent spot, because if he saves shields for Mewtwo, then my Giratina becomes kind of okay versus it, as I can do a bunch of Shadow Claws before he can knock me out with Mewtwo. So that's the second Precipice go down as well. Giratina goes down, in comes Mewtwo. I think I could have overfarmed a little bit versus the Giratina as well, by the way. That would have been slightly more optimal, but it's still fine. I get off a Fire Punch versus the Mewtwo. Of course, he's not going to shield. I thought I might be able to reach another one, but I can't. So I'm just going to Xerneas just to sack it. At this point, I'm fine with just fully sacking my Xerneas. Do a couple side strikes. That was pretty early, which is beautiful for me. I can just let Xerneas go. Now bring in Giratina and hope I can throw enough Shadow Claws into this Mewtwo. Unfortunately, though, he instantly switches out into Rhyperior, which already has energy as well. So it's going to get off a Breaking Swipe pretty quickly. I'll go for the Dragon Claw basically immediately before he can do that. Take a shield. Out comes the Breaking Swipe. I've got to shield this, as my Groudon has no more health. Oh, and that Breaking Swipe will definitely knocked out. I go for another Dragon Claw. He's going to get to another Breaking Swipe soon, which I can't shield, as the Mewtwo also has energy. So I switch into Groudon, catch the Breaking Swipe. I think that was a little iffy, because I did see a little bit of a frame drop there, but we take those. We take that kind of clunky catch. Very nice. Out comes Mewtwo now. Can I get to 2 Dragon Claws before he gets to 2 side strikes? No, it's going to be very close. First Dragon Claw coming through. This takes a shield from the Mewtwo. Next Dragon Claw will take it very low, but it won't knock out yet. Does this bring it in 1 Shadow Claw range? It does not. I need 2. And after this side strike, the second one will go through and take out the Mewtwo, and I should be winning this game. GG! Alright, next match, we see a Mewtwo lead. This is pretty fine for Giratina, though this is definitely worse for Giratina Altered than it is for Origin. Because I'm pretty sure if this Mewtwo goes double side strike, it can win zeros. But luckily my opponent decides to go for Shadow Ball, which means I get to my 2 Dragon Claws before 2. Actually, I would always get 2 Dragon Claws, but now I also get more Shadow Claws in before I can get to the side strike, which means this Mewtwo will be very low on HP coming out of this matchup. Yeah, look at that. It's now in range where I can mudshot it down with Groudon, whereas I believe if they just double side striked, it would have been more trouble for my backline. Yeah, look at that. Nice mudshot down with Groudon. In comes Kyogre, though, which is kind of problematic. I go for the Fire Punch bait here, though, as I feel like I'm indicating here by staying in with Groudon that I'm weak to Kyogre, so they have to shield potential Precipice Blades, which they do. So really good bait by me. Out comes Xerneas. They don't really expect Xerneas to be able to hit Kyogre for a lot of damage, as Boomblast still only does like 50%. So they're probably going to no-shield this. I go straight for the Thunder. Do they let this go? They do, and it brings him deep into the red, and they switch into Dialga. They're probably not expecting me to run close combat now, though I guess that's still definitely a possibility. Either way, Dialga would survive a close combat, so they let it go. Just ends up being a Moonblast. They're gonna throw an Iron Head here, let things go with Xerneas, and now it's all up to Groudon to try to sweep this game. Throw a Fire Punch. At this point, if they let this go, should be able to get to 2 Fire Punch versus the Kyogre, I think. So they shield this up. They hope to get to another move, but I was counting and they weren't another Iron Head yet. So I throw the Fire Punch here. And now if I can survive 3 waterfalls, I should be able to reach another Fire Punch. And I do. Just barely reach the next Fire Punch. And this should knock out the Kyogre. And it does. GG. That was a very good game. Alright. Dialga lead, switching to Xerneas, and out comes Ho-Oh. This is what we have Thunder for. Xerneas with Thunder can actually beat Ho-Oh in the Zero Shields, which is crazy. Look at that. That's a lot of damage on the Ho-Oh. Out comes a Sacred Fire, but this does not knock me out. I survive and will be able to get to another Thunder. Look at that. My attack does drop, but that doesn't matter. The Thunder would still knock out. So I'm either gonna get Switch here or Shield Advantage. And I get Shield Advantage. That's okay with me. I can bring out Giratina now, get a bunch of farm on this, and then, hopefully, once this flyer is gone, Groudon can just sweep. That is the plan here. Through a Sacred Fire, which means they're still 3 away from their next move. Can throw 7 Shadow Claws within that time frame, and throw a Dragon Claw right before they able to get to the Brave Bird. Knock out Ho-Oh. He's going to save this Dragon Claw for later. Out comes Dialga. I don't think I outpace here, so don't throw my move. And he would have seen Pete with me, I think. So, a good call by me. I was tempted to throw this Precipice Blades immediately, not expecting him to switch. But they didn't, but I didn't dare to. Because let's say they did have another flyer in the back. It would have been trouble. So I waited. Which I was also fine, actually. Because now I was able to throw a Precipice into the Giratina. And then another one on the CMP tie with the Shadow Ball here. So we'll knock out the Giratina. I have to let it go. And they do. They think they can sweep this with Dialga. Which... I don't know, it's looking kind of likely at this point because I won't be able to reach a Fire Punch plus a Precipice Blades. But maybe if I can hit 2 Fire Punches, one shielded, the other one unshielded, the Dragon Claw I've stored on Giratina might knock out. Fire Punch coming through, it's only neutral but does a decent chunk of damage. Out comes Dragon Claw, also neutral, but from a pretty low attack Pokemon, is this gonna be enough? It doesn't do enough, but I should be able to Shadow Claw down. GG there. Alright, Kyogre lead, good lead for me. Out comes Zacian. Groudon has a pretty good matchup here. So switch it in. Kind of expecting Dialga in the back though, which could be trouble for Xerneas still. Xerneas without close combat still beats Dialga and 1 shields, by the way, straight Moonblast. So that's why I'm not running close combat. I think Moonblast is kind of required to hit like Giratinas. And since I'm running Xerneas on the pivot, you're not expecting Dialga to like switch in anyway. Like, generally, what happens is I switch in Xerneas into a Dialga, and they will generally switch out. So, that's why I didn't feel like close combat was entirely necessary. Ooh, I take out the Zacian, but I'm not able to get to a move versus the Kyogre with my Groudon, which is unfortunate. I would like to throw a Precipice Blades there. Now, this could be trouble if this Kyogre has Blizzard, because I just got a lot of farm for free. I'm able to fire off a couple Dragon Claws before they get there, though. Second one coming through. If this is Blizzard, I'm just gonna let it go. I think Giratina is tanky enough to take it. It is the Blizzard. Instant switch into Xerneas, as I'm expecting them to switch out as well. But because I got a Shadow Claw sneak there, versus when the Blizzard came through, my switch takes 1 turn. And because they threw the Blizzard, their switch only took 0 turns. Which means they now outpacing me to moves, which is unfortunate. So smart move by my opponent to throw their Moonblast immediately. Because if I had been the one to throw the move first, we would have negated that turn difference, basically. Now, they're always going to be 1 Geomancy ahead. Besides that, what makes this even worse is that I don't have Close Combat. Close Combat would come out a little quicker and would help with, knocking out Xerneas at this range. Like, at this point, I just need to hit Close Combat to knock it out. I'm gonna go for the Moonblast here though. At this point, I just gotta hope I can catch a move. I think this was CMP. Oh, it wasn't. Oh, actually what I was trying to do there is bring in Giratina, snipe the Xerneas with an Ancient Power, but unfortunately, they saw it coming and they brought out Kyogre. That was very, very smart play. Like super smart play. And I was hoping I could Geomancy down, but they already had a surf. At this point, I'm in range where their Moonblast will knock out. So, very well played by my opponent there. Seeing that switch coming and yeah, bringing out Kyogre to stop it. GG. Ooh, Mamo lead is pretty tough for this line, especially since I don't have close combat on Xerneas. Still switch it in though. Hoping that they would switch out, but they don't. They stay in for a while. Throw a move here. It's fine though. I should still be able to grab shields here. And Groudon in this matchup is actually not too bad because I can Fire Punch it and Precipice Blades does a ton too. Actually, catch a move on the Giratina though, hoping to catch a close combat probably, but no, it was a Moonblast of course. I don't want to throw my move, as if I throw my move, I'm afraid they're just gonna let it go, and then Mamoswine sweeps my team. I would much rather let my Xerneas go down, farm all the way down with Giratina, have Dragon Claws ready to go to fire off against whatever they send in next. Ominous Wind comes through here, doesn't do a lot, so I'll let it go. Probably Dialga in the back, if I was to guess. A lot of Mamoswine teams are double Dragon, and well, the most common Dragon to run is Dialga, of course. I bring in my Groudon now instantly versus this Mamoswine. They're gonna throw an Avalanche. I throw my Fire Punch after 4 or 5, a couple mud shots, 5 mud shots apparently, and they catch. This was honestly a mistake. I should have just waited a turn, made sure they couldn't catch, but now they made a very nice catch. So that was a good play by my opponent. Over farm enough to throw this Precipice Blades right before their crunch. I'm expecting them to no shield this, as their Mamoswine is basically the Wincon. Throw his Fire Punch, and my opponent gives me an out. My opponent throws on the CMP tie, which I win. So now we get a shield, and I can let Groudon go down. I'm pretty sure they're basically energy dry, which means Giratina might be able to outpace to 3 moves, as I already have a lot of energy. So if I can outpace to 3 Dragon Claws before I get to 2 Avalanches, I should be able to knock out this Mamoswine. That's 1 Dragon Claw. I get to 2, and they didn't CMP tie me, which means that even if they have 2 moves now, I will be able to win this battle. First Dragon Claw takes a shield, next one will take out the Mamoswine, and that's a very good game. Alright. Next up, Groudon lead. Oh, this is the first Groudon lead I faced, and I was hoping I would be able to just bring this Groudon low enough to where I could potentially farm it down with my own Groudon, or just take it out with a Fire Punch really quick. But you're gonna see this gonna end up a little bit differently. Gonna wish, well, next time I face a Groudon, I'm gonna play this out differently for sure. I would like to shield the first or maybe even second Precipice Blades, because as you can see, this 0 shield matchup is very bad for Giratina. Very bad. Their Groudon is not even in Fire Punch range yet. So, bringing my own Groudon. I don't throw Fire Punch there, as I didn't think it would knock out. I would rather shoot the Precipice here then, and then over farm up to 100, and then throw my Fire Punch to knock out the opposing Groudon. So that's what I do. Farm to 100 basically. 99 actually. Throw the Fire Punch. This will knock out the Groudon. And now I'm a shield down, and there's a Flyer in the back, which is just so bad. Their own Zacian as well. Had I just used the shield on Giratina, I would have either been able to grab Switch there most likely, or at least brought their Groudon low enough to where I could knock it out with a Fire Punch really quick. Whereas now I'm just shield down and I've lost Switch. It's a Wild Charge Zacian too, which is definitely not ideal for Xerneas. My only play here now is hoping I can somehow take out this Zacian with a Groudon if I switch it back in, and then that my Xerneas can somehow like snipe the Yveltal or something. I don't know. This point, I shield that up because I need my Xerneas alive. And then I catch the Wild Charge. Wait, I'm going to replay that because that was quite nice, actually. That was quite nice. As you can see, I wait 2 turns here. I was expecting him to throw after 4 quick attacks. So in the middle of my 3rd Geomancy. So I only did 2 Geomancies, and I waited 2 turns, and then switched and called the Wild Charge on my Groudon. And this might give me a little bit of a chance, as this Yveltal still needs like 2 Dark Pulses to knock me out. And I might be able to get enough Fire Punch damage in here to where I can Geomancy down and then maybe double Boom Blast the opposing Zacian. I don't know. It's going to be pretty close. Get off another Fire Punch here that are slowly chipping down the Yveltal. This is just a Dark Pulse, so they're going to have to fire another one. But my opponent very smartly throws the Focus Blast to knock me out. And they definitely have too much health for my Xerneas to farm down at this point. Still hoping to get off a Thunder here, but unfortunately I lose the CMP tie, and we get taken out by the Yveltal. GG. Okay, Giratina Origin lead. This is actually a fine lead for Giratina Altered. I'm pretty sure you win the ones, but I don't intend to win the ones here. I just want to play out the 0 shield situation. And in the 0 shield situation, Giratina Origin actually has to throw a Shadow Ball and an Ominous Wind before I reach 3 Dragon Claws. So they're gonna end up out of this, coming out of this matchup with very little energy and HP to the point where I can just farm now with one of my Pokemon. I kind of was expecting this catch though. It was a good catch by them because they've now stored an Ominous Wind on their Giratina or maybe even a Shadow Ball. Yeah, I think they have a Shadow Ball. But this is fine because I can come in Groudon here, throw 8 Mudshots and fire off my Precipice Blades right before they can get to the Iron Head. Iron Head is 17 Dragon Breaths, by the way. That's 8.5 Mudshots, so that's why 8 Mudshots there is a safe way to go. I think I made a mistake here. Generally, Giratina lead is going to be a bit like double steal in the back, right? So like Dialga and Excretor or something. So I think I should have brought in Xerneas here. Even though Xerneas is not like the best against Dialga with 2 shields, I can at least bring it low enough to Mudshot down with Groudon later and then take out the back line. So next time I see this, I'm probably just going to bring in Xerneas versus the Dialga. The Throws move, I'm kind of expecting them to throw or to bring in Giratina at some point to throw the Shadow Ball. Not yet though, so I throw the Moonblast. And now I'm expecting them to bring in Giratina and Shadow Ball. I don't want to take that on Xerneas. So if I see the Giratina come in, I'm going to switch into my own Giratina to catch the Shadow Ball, hopefully. Let's see. Comes in, I switch into Giratina, I catch the Shadow Ball, and now it's Xerneas versus the world. But like I said, they would be like triple weak to Xerneas. Or they would have to be triple weak to Xerneas for me to win. And it seems like they are, because they bring in Galarian Zapdos. And I just Moonblast it. Bye-bye. And we take out the Giratina too. GG. That's honestly kind of lucky. I think that's not a common line, obviously. So I feel like it would have been better to bring in the Xerneas versus the Dialga. Because 99% of the time, in the back there, is going to be something that I can beat with Groudon and not beat with Xerneas. Anyway, we take those anyway. I guess I just knew. The gut feeling was there. Alright, Dialga came in after Ho-Oh lead. I brought it Xerneas. It's kind of a reflex. But I should have really brought out Groudon. Because they could potentially Dragon Breath me all the way down now and get Switch. But they don't. So I'll win Switch. I'll take that for sure. I'll take that for sure. I get a little bit of farm on my Xerneas. Unfortunately, I'm not able to get to the Thunder. Bring out Giratina. I throw the Ancient Power here. I thought I would win in CMP, but I don't. Which I really should have known, because Giratina Altered has a very low attack. But this ends up working out for really well for me. Let's just say this was intentional. Because they debuffed them, and they were forced to shield to move now, as Ancient Power would have knocked them out, because they were debuffed. So, you know, that was very smart by me. Totally intentional, like I said. Out comes another Precipice Blades. This will do so much versus Xerneas. And at this point, I can just let Groudon go down and sweep with the Giratina, to be honest. So let this Moonblast go. Still throw the Fire Punch here on the CMP. Might have been a little bit of a mistake, but my thought process here is that I can still get to a Precipice versus the Ho-Oh. And that will bring him into range where a Dragon Claw will knock out, or even an Ancient Power if I'm like super debuffed. If they end up getting like 2 Sacred Fire debuffs on me, it should still knock out. Bring out Ho-Oh now, or Giratina now, and I CMP again. Because why not? You know? They Sacred Fire me, my tag drops, but this should be fine at this point. Even if they let this go, I should be able to Shadow Claw now. Yeah. But, you know, just to keep the tradition going, let's just CMP with them again. Alright, let's just CMP a Ho-Oh 3 times in a battle. This is not something I ever recommend, because CMPing with a Ho-Oh is extremely risky, as if they don't throw their move, they get in a full free Incinerate, which is often deadly. So, yeah, don't do that, what I just did, but still, I found it pretty funny to CMP tie him 3 times. Ooh, another Dialga lead. They bring out Ho-Oh. Really nice for Xerneas. I get to my first Thunder right here. As we saw earlier on in the video, this does a ton of damage to the Ho-Oh. And even if they throw Sacred Fire or Brave Bird here, I will be able to get to another one. I'll let this go. Does a ton, but doesn't knock me out. I get to the Thunder, and this will take a shield from a Ho-Oh if they want to keep switch advantage, which often do. It's nice. We've taken a shield. Bring out Giratina. I will just take any move here, to be honest. They're probably Brave Bird, which means I think they're 2 away from their next move. So I have to throw after 4 Shadow Claws. As we just saw, I lose CMP, so I can't go for 5 Shadow Claws. Otherwise, I would have to take another Brave Bird, or shield it, which I don't want. Throw a Dragon Claw. Just switch into Groudon here and have Landorus This, even though Landorus is a flying type, this is not too bad of a matchup for Groudon, as 3 fire punches basically knock out, and they kind of need to bait here to win, as Superpower is like they generally run Superpower Stone Edge, and Superpower is the only neutral move they have, but it debuffs themselves. So if I shield the first Superpower, they're gonna end up doing less with the next. So the Stone Edge bait here, which I called, because that's what they usually do. So it was a good call by me. I'm gonna shield this next one, even though it's probably still another Stone Edge. But that's fine. At this point, the next Stone Edge will bring me too low. Go for another Fire Punch. I think at this point, another one will knock out. I've done enough mutual damage. It will. So throw it immediately, which are going to shield up. I think they're going to get to a Superpower at the exact same time I'm going to get to a Fire Punch, though. So I'm actually going to try to catch it, but they don't throw. And that was a big mistake. If I would have just thrown the Fire Punch immediately there, I would have knocked out the Landorus. And then I would have been able to knock out the Dialga too. Now, the Dialga gets too much farm. We'll be able to throw a move versus my Groudon. And Groudon loses CMP versus Landorus. Versus Dialga too, by the way. So that means that I lose this. There's no way of winning this anymore, so I'm just gonna let this go. Because the Landorus already has a superpower. I'm in range for a superpower. Even if I farmed out the 2 Fire Punch there, unfortunately, the game was lost. Well played by my opponent there by, I guess, predicting my catcher right there, not throwing the superpower. Alright, the Dialga lead again. I go into Xerneas, throw the Moonblast, which they don't end up shooting, but that's fine. They're now in Dragon Claw range. A lot of Dialgas don't end up shooting that, as close combat wouldn't even knock them out yet. So they feel safe, no shooting those moves. Out comes Mewtwo now. Kind of awkward for Xerneas, as Mewtwo just way outpaces. But I can throw a Moonblast here. Bring them very low if they don't shoot this. And they do. 2 of their Pokemon are now in the red health, thanks to Xerneas. This is actually where not having close combat hurt me. As if I had close combat there, I could have already fired it. And they would have actually had to use a shield if they wanted to keep switch. So my opponent kind of playing risky there. By over-farming by 1 more Psycho Cut, because if I had close combat there, they would have had to take 1. But yeah, that's okay. Still, Giratina takes that Side Strike easily. Actually, I said earlier on in the video that Mewtwo should go double Side Strike versus Giratina Altered, but it looks like that Side Strike didn't do enough. I guess the opponent we had with the Mewtwo lead actually played that pretty smart, as they actually did need Shadow Ball plus Side Strike to knock out. Anyway, Draco knocks out my Giratina. My Groudon, oh, yeah, it did knock out my Giratina. Yo, never mind. I'm confused, as I normally don't run Giratina Altered, so it's just such a different Pokemon than Giratina Origin to me. Anyway, Giratina Origin comes out, and in my mind, I could triple Precipice Blades this, and it would knock out into shield, because of the added mutual damage. So I just go straight forward. Also, I call one Ominous Wind bait there, which makes this pretty positive for me, I thought. But as you're gonna see, you actually need a bait here. Because the Precipice Blades is not going to knock out. Spoilers. Spoilers. I'm going to shoot another Ominous Wind. Please don't boost. If they boost, this game is definitely over. I have to shield this too. At this point, if they hit an Ominous Wind, the Dialga's just going to farm me down. Just going to go for the Precipice Blades. Actually, I wait a turn to make sure I don't catch on Dialgas. That would be pretty devastating. I thought this would knock out, but it doesn't. And they will be able to reach a move before I am able to farm them down. So I thought I would lose, but I actually switched in Dialga, hoping to catch a Fire Punch, but I wasn't there yet, so farm down the Dialga, and I have the Precipice Blades ready for the Giratina. I'm pretty sure I just set a world record there, by the way. I don't think anyone has ever thrown 4 Precipice Blades with Groudon in a single match without, like, baiting once. Like, that's crazy. That's crazy. It wins me the game as well. GG. That was the final battle. Hope you enjoyed the video. I do think Thunder Xerneas has a lot of play. I will never say it's the best moveset, but it's definitely something to consider. As far as fairy types with electric moves go, I do think Zacian is better though, just because Wild Charge is an incredible move, but it's also predictable. Like, these days, if you pivot a Zacian, they're gonna be scared to bring out Ho-Oh, as they are expecting Wild Charge. With Xerneas, that is not the case, as they do not expect Thunder, and that is why it worked really well for me today. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. We'll see you in the next one. Good luck with your battle trainers.